On this episode of The Creator's Court, Mary Shelley has been pieced together posthumously to preside as our guest judge this week. Dr. Victor Frankenstein is being sued for wrongful creation and abandonment, requesting the creation of a female partner as reparation. Meanwhile, it should be known that Frankenstein rejects this request, due to the trauma caused by the monster's actions, particularly the murders of William Frankenstein, Elizabeth Lavenza, and Henry Clerval, as well as the framing of Justine Moritz. The authors are real. The characters are flawed. The judgments are final. This is the Creator's Court.
Monster, what exactly do you mean by wrongful creation?
Well, Your Honor, the very principle of my creation was based on that of a morally grotesque nature. My own Genesis is a story of death, decay, and desecration. It's the story of a monster birthed by the superiority of a naive man playing God.
Oh, this is outrageous. I was not playing God. I was trying to...
You will speak when spoken to, Mr. Frankenstein. Monster, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. You see, God, in pity, made man beautiful and alluring, but my form is a filthy type of yours, more horrid even from the very resemblance.
Judge, this is ridiculous. I took infinite pains and care to form him. I selected his features as beautiful. Beautiful. I never intended to make such a horrid body.
Do you want me to throw you out of my courtroom? I can do that. You will wait your turn, Mr. Frankenstein. Monster, please continue.
It's Dr. Frankenstein?
Monster, please continue.
Of course, Your Honor. I did not ask for this body, these bodies, spliced together so hideously from an assortment of corpses, stolen from their resting place in the earth. The very crux of my nature is rooted in perversion. My accursed creator, that is, Dr. Frankenstein, only created me to feed his God complex, and I deserve reparation for my abhorrent inception and abandonment.
Now, Mr. Frankenstein, is this true? Why did you create this monster?
Quite simple, Miss Shelley.
Judge Shelley.
Yes. Mrs. Shelley. See, I created the fiend because I wanted to better mankind.
And how would this modern Prometheus be a betterment to mankind?
Because a new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. I might, in process of time, although I now find it impossible, renew life where death had apparently devoted the body to corruption. I thought that I could find a way to cheat death by circumventing the creation of life, which requires a mother, and by creating life from nothing, perhaps I could defeat the permanence of death. You understand my fervent longing to penetrate the secrets of nature, of course.
So you were attempting to play God, and now you see you were in over your head. Are you proud of the Adam of your labors?
Of course not. The demon is an abomination.
I am only as you created me.
You murdered my family, you malicious fiend.
I am malicious because I'm miserable. Am I not shunned and hated by all mankind? You, my creator, would tear me to pieces and triumph. Remember that.
Demon.
Order! Doctor, you say that he is an abomination, yet you once attempted to create another. Did you not?
I did, in an effort to appease the wretched thing. I spent 2 years working on an equally ugly companion for him, but I couldn't go through with bringing another devil into the world, especially not a female one. What if they could reproduce? So I dumped the body into the ocean to contain this abomination. It was my responsibility to mankind.
And was it not also your responsibility to teach and care for your creation here?
My actions are justified. He murdered my family, he killed Elizabeth on our wedding night, and he framed Justine for their deaths. The wretch is truly a monster. Just look at him. I was right to have left him.
I had no choice in my creation. But you, my creator, you chose to bring me into this world. You chose to abandon me long before I had sought out my vengeance against you. When all I had done was smile, I had no ill intentions. My only wish was to connect with people. But they chased me away from everywhere I went. Even after months of caring for the people of that humble hovel, just when I thought I had found Eden, they assaulted me as soon as they saw the hideous face you had bestowed upon me. Like you, They could not stand to look upon my hideous visage. But I am the hideous image that you created, and my actions were no more than retribution. For the nearer I approached to your habitation, the more deeply did I feel the spirit of revenge enkindled in my heart. I took those you loved to hurt you, but only because you had made me into a monster.
My fleeing of this ogre pales in comparison to the atrocities he committed. The amount of grief he has caused me is punishment enough for my transgressions against nature. He is the true criminal, a monster, and he should be facing charges for his actions, not myself.
My crimes may have been wrong, but he is responsible, as they were only the consequences of his own actions. You see, I may be a monster, Your Honor, but he is the man who created the monster.
Actions do have consequences, Dr. Frankenstein.
I couldn't agree more, madam. And what of your actions?
I beg your pardon?
Do not carry on as if I am the sole guilty party of this court. The apple does not fall far from the tree, and we all know you are rather well-versed in Paradise Lost, Mrs. Shelley.
Ahem. I intend to clarify the points of the plaintiff and the defendant before proceeding further with this case. Monster, you seek some recompense from Dr. Frankenstein for the crimes of wrongful creation and abandonment in the form of a mate. You feel that the nature of your birth and subsequent abandonment by your creator, as well as the cruel treatment you have received from man despite your very best intentions, have given your case merit to warrant the creation of a new mate by Dr. Frankenstein.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And Dr. Frankenstein, you refuse to once more engage in this endeavor for ethical reasons and because of the monster's crimes against you.
My crimes? My crimes against him? He aborted my half-completed mate. He threw my unborn bride into the goddamn ocean.
Your bride? You killed my beloved Elizabeth on our wedding night.
An eye for an eye.
Demon, not only my bride, but you murdered my brother and framed my family servant too.
Order! Order!
You call me a demon, but am I not a product of your hand? By your hand I was born, and by your hand I was abandoned. This all leads back to you.
You speak as though I am all to blame for your plight, but you speak not of she who conceived us both.
Order! Order! By the love of God, I know I wrote you to have daddy issues, but it's been 200 years. See a counselor.
Daddy issues? Take a look in the mirror.
Be silent, doctor.
I do not want a counselor. I want a mate.
And you believe that will solve your problems? Baloney. You know why? Because even if you find your soulmate, he or she will not be infallible, and love is not undying. It is fleeting, transient, and the inevitable result is disappointment and loneliness. Such is life.
What would you know of such a life?
I'm a writer. We're supposed to have tragic lives, then use them to create something glorious that will be lauded for centuries, while we rot in our graves. What do you think I've been doing?
Then you know of my torment? My loneliness? Are you to be indifferent, then, to the sufferings of your creations? Do we mean so little to you?
You are the creation of my ambitious youth, when death and grief were but words, which found no true echo in my heart, when I was not alone, and my companion was one who, in this world, I shall never see more. I am no stranger to loneliness, monster, but it is folly to pursue the remedy. Happiness is not meant for people like us.
So we are the product of your tragic life, your ambition? Now who is the one playing God? By all means, bear your heart to us, Your Honor.
It is not my tragic life on trial here, Doctor. In fact, I find this entire farce of a trial to be absolutely absurd. It has been 200 years, and I will not allow my crowning achievement to be the cross upon which I hang myself. Therefore, my judgment is for myself. I win and you lose. I sentence you both to an eternity of quality companionship with one another. No mates, no dates, just the two of you being irate in a debate while I bake in the hot Florida sun.
Judge Shelley, friendly neighborhood narrator here. You're being laid to rest again after this, so I don't see a Florida sun anywhere in your future.
And I don't see either of these two idiots ever finding closure. The story has been written, and the arguments are daft. Case dismissed.
In the end, it seems that nothing is truly resolved for Dr. Victor Frankenstein or his creation, and Judge Shelley has just been loaded into the hearse. Tune in next week for our next edition of The Creator's Court, where Count Dracula and Van Helsing bring countersuits against one another before special guest judge, author Bram Stoker. The authors are real. The characters are flawed. The judgments are final. This is The Creator's Court. Thank you so much for listening to our audio presentation of The Creator's Court. Before letting you go, we would just like to leave you with a few thoughts. In creating this drama, various sound effects and even the distortion of the monster's voice were considered. But in the end, these were cast aside in favor of simply featuring voices interacting with one another, to allow focus on character dynamics. The concept of a modern court case was introduced to emphasize the arguments which allow the novel Frankenstein to stand out among the works considered as literary classics. Principally, the arguments and questions surrounding creation on philosophical and ethical grounds. These questions and arguments, and the very friction created by the two, are what truly mark Mary Shelley's Frankenstein as a piece of horror. Although, if we're being honest, a stitched-together living corpse creature walking around would be a pretty horrifying visual. The dialogue heard in this presentation is based on research into Mary Shelley's history and available information regarding her experiences writing the story, in addition to, of course, the source material, Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus. We hope you enjoyed this edition of The Creator's Court, and thank you again for tuning in.